Our other game that we're going to be watching today is OpiWrites versus Pofke.
Yeah, and OpiWrites not only the creator and organizer of the Winter Cup, but let me just read off some of these finishes for you. Winter Cup 2020, third place. Summer Cup 2020, second place. Winter Cup 2021, first place. Summer Cup 2021, second place. That is 4 straight cups with a top 3 finish. Actually, let me see here. No, I'm sorry. I forgot about Summer Cup 2019, where he was the runner-up to Crazy Kaylee. 5 straight cups with a top 3 finish. And look at that. 1 win, 3 second places, a third place. It's an absolutely crazy run. Absolutely the most successful player in Cups to date. And I should point out, though, Poffkey, obviously no slouch. Both Poffkey and Opie are 5-0 coming into this, and they're the last 2 Winter Cup champions. So both of these players today are trying to become the first 2-time Winter Cup champ. To talk a little bit, I'm sure you'll get into styles in a second, but just stats-wise, I got to point out, Poffkey's sniper has always been good, always in that 70 to 80% range. The difference being that when he was Winter Cup champion in 2020 or lost early in the last Summer Cup, struggling a little in Platinum too, the difference has always been whether the spy rate is up around 40 or 50% or whether it's down around near 30. That's the thing that's varied over Pofke's competitive career. The sniper's always been strong, but the difference between ho-hum and domination has been whether the spy's been good or merely okay.
We've had a lot of matches between these two players. They've been in the same SCL, or Spy Party Competitive League division here, most recently in Platinum, and they do meet in a lot of cups just because they do both make at least past the quarterfinals, and he's been on the podium. So, in regards to style, I think when it comes to Pofke versus Opie, the big thing is Pofke is perhaps the best player in the game, at least still active at watching bug. If you watch his sniper, you can definitely see that he's just keeping the bug on camera the whole time. And that's a bit of a issue for Opie, who is one of the spies who absolutely adores Bug, adores aggressive play, and adores rushes. And if you're trying to rush and you're not able to use Bug as one of those missions, it becomes a lot harder. So I'm interested to see the dynamic of how this ends up being played. While
Yeah.
they're not going to be live, they did play this very recently, and I'm going to need a technical moment here just to download the set.
Yeah, just download them. Well, that's okay. We probably have a little bit of time anyway because it's a shame he doesn't have a jacket because Kletos, there's a draft coming, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Actually, it's already here.
All right. What do we got? Your favorites again, I hope.
Well, I'm a little upset at one of these bands, but
Oh, okay.
actually 2 of the bands, honestly. But and I actually do have a little bit of a goof up here, I think.
That's okay. You've got a moment
Yep,
anyway.
let me edit it here.
Live real-time production. You're seeing
Yep.
it here. This is how you know the match just took place, people. Mere minutes ago. It's live adjacent, live-ish, whatever you want to call it. Quasi-live.
Yeah.
All acceptable.
Oh, by the way, while we're just waiting for everything to happen, thank goodness Checker has such a great replay system. It really is a triple A replay system hidden in a indie game with 1, 2, 3 developers at most, and 2 of those are artists. So really want to give that shout out to Chris Hecker.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a AAA replay system hidden behind a single F lobby.
Yeah, don't look at the lobby.
There we go. No, that's correct. Should be anyway.
Okay, perfect. Let's get into these picks and bans while I do actually have the games ready to go, so everything is perfect.
Yep. So it's the swap block is returning. Pofke picked that, and modern madness. Not sure which. But anyway,
I always say that E is there for a reason, people.
Yeah,
so
it
we
is
might as well
modern.
pronounce it.
Yep,
It would be a
modern.
shame not to.
Yep. Anyway, so the modern madness is a lot of the snipercade layouts and whatnot, and also modern.
Yeah. So it's 2 modern setups with pub and courtyard both being low time, a lot of threat, and then high rise is snuck in there. It's added an additional mission. It used to be 3 of 5. We'll see it as 3 of 6. Murdarin also got moved from 5 of 8 down to 4 of 8. Not surprisingly, Aquarium banned by OpiWrites. He's not going to allow Aquarium whenever given
Yes.
the opportunity.
I do
And
understand that. I don't like it. But
Kletos, not even mad. He understands so well. Normally, he hates it when Aquarium is banned, but he said, in your case, I
yeah,
get it.
with Opie has earned the aquarium ban.
yeah,
Fair and high praise from Kletos.
He
we
Indeed.
saw
is
Rov
he has been
do the
on the
shark
bad
walk.
end of a few shark walks.
Yeah, we saw Rob do the shark walk, though it didn't particularly matter because they're low lit. That's what Opie doesn't want to deal with. What Pofke doesn't want to deal with is Courtyard. Just any 4 of 7, expecting it to probably go sniper, if it was allowed. That being said, we're moving into Gallery, but as our doubled map for Pofke, and we're going to start off with 4 games of Modern here with.
Poffkey
Uh,
as buns, it looks
Thank you.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really appreciate Pofke picking the same character that the previous set ended on. Makes it easier on me.
Save our hosts a little bit of work. Casters, on the other hand, we have to talk just as much. And we're ready to talk in 3, 2, 1, playing it. We are off on Modern. And this is, yeah, as you mentioned, a couple of rivals have played each other before several times. They're both always in the mix of the cups when they're around. They played in the same SCL division last time. Opie, I think, got a little bit of the better of it there. But it was Platinum SCL 6 was crazy. It was one of those things where a match or two separated the bottom of the division from the top in a few ways.
Yeah, I think OpiWrites has had the upper hand in this particular matchup. Ran into more issues with someone like Lazy Bear or Ryu, who ended up winning Platinum despite these two perhaps being the favorite last season, just because of their brutal sniping and decently solid spies. We also do see a lot of green action tests from both these players. OpiWrites more notably, but Pofke with a 51% here to start this particular game.
Yeah, I remember back when 50+% made you elite. Now it just makes you pretty good on the action tests, and the elite players are up over 16, as you mentioned. OpiWrites consistently one of them, definitely one of the vanguards of the higher AT movement. It's still struggling to get out of the low to mid 60s over a sustained period of time, but if it does happen, he's one of the players who might make it happen. Pofke at bar now with a half flirt done already. Our seduction target has not moved, so we could take this drink and just use the drink to space out a possible 2-flirt game here.
I'm not sure if Rocker was before us in this bar queue, but Rocker got impatient and then re-requested. It's a bit like real life, where if you keep on asking for drinks, the bartenders are going to get tired of you and not offer you a drink until you're done with everybody else. And we do get the fingerprint as a result. We do also hit the action test, importantly.
Yeah, and after waiting so long for that drink, Rocker immediately takes a sip. Why not? And definitely dressed like someone you might find in a bar or even on the stage at the front of the bar, for that matter. Definitely a rock star vibe. That's why we call her Rocker, in case y'all don't know. 85% on the flirt, 1 fingerprint done, a little over 2 minutes left, and what do you know? As I say that, OpiWrites zoomed in on the ambassador just as you discussed.
Who's the least likely person to be seen at a bar?
Ooh, that's a
The
good
ones that
question.
come to mind are Orange Sorry, who are walking nearby
Yeah,
here, but
it's
also
it's Seek
just
and Orange Sorry, right?
it's Seek,
Because
right? Because Seek doesn't drink.
Sikh doesn't drink. That's right. In accordance with the Sikh religion, which is one of the reasons their drinks are non-alcoholic. Sari's is lemonade. For my money, if I had to have any of these drinks, it would be Sari's. Can't go wrong with a good lemonade, even in the winter. But yeah, I think it's Sikh for sure.
Shout outs to Queen with the Pims, a
Yeah.
an English delicacy, if you will. 85% flirt, fingerprint in pocket. Nothing's much changed while we've been talking about drinks, other than Seek does have one. They've now gone to low light here for going to bar during the banana bread that's just come off, along with a bunch of the rest of the party. Pofke not copping a highlight just yet, but we should be credited with the mission.
We should be. Several lowlights come off, including Smallman, including Seek, Salmon, General, one of the twins, Teal, all them. It's a decent number of lowlights for Modern, but more to the point, our progress is still a little mixed here, and there's only a minute left. We're going to pick up another delegate, and this one you got to imagine is probably going to take, as does the highlight for it.
I think this might have a difficult print when we settle down. Not 100% sure. Ambassador definitely was back at the bar. They've been thirsty today. Here we go, and they hit a second green. This is hard to
Wow.
credit. Even if OpiWrites does know about both of the fingerprints, they have no reason to really believe that Pofke's been able to hit both of them. And
Yep.
so if we just do something subtle as our 4th mission, we should be good to go. This Purloin might not be that subtle, though. It's going to be another highlight to bar.
Right out front, too. Yep.
We might see Queen get shot, but Pofke is in trouble, and we need to see if OpiWrites is watching it. They
Even if it's a
do look.
coin flip. That's great odds against Opie's sniper on Modern. Here it comes. There's the take, and the shot is immediately into the spy's back, and the 2 difficult fingerprints are for naught.
Oh, that's so brutal. Pofke playing an absolute blinder, getting 2 difficult fingerprints and purloining towards a highlight is really all you could possibly ask for in Modern. But OpiWrites doesn't care. OpiWrites just shoots spies.
I think as much as that game is good against most snipers, against someone like Opie, I think you lean into the difficults and you do the soft tail finish. I think you make the mission count with the inspects. I understand there's some downside there, but boy, I think that would have been a tough shot. Opie does not like shooting if he's not sure, and it would be very, very hard to be sure of that. Even if you impugn a 60% AT rate to your opponent, and I think Poffkey is a little south of that, that's still only a 36% chance of hitting 2 different difficults, let alone the pressure of the game itself. I don't think it matters, though. He doesn't have to credit the fingerprints at all. Just notice the purloin, and he does, and it is 1-0 Opie. Now playing Spy. There's the aforementioned Orange Sorry in 3, 2, 1, playing it. We don't normally care too much about character walking speed, but on a venue this large with a character this slow, it could come into play.
Orange Sorry has had a huge win rate, but it's often because they're picked on these smaller maps. Maps like Library, Veranda, Modern don't have crazy spy win rates just because the 5-8 nature, the big nature of the map means it's nice and open. It's hard to get things like bugs. But additionally, it's because of the power of the character. We are going to see bar highlights here from our sniper, at least on wheels. I don't see one on queen just yet. And we do see 17% flirt, the literal minimum that you can get while flirting.
Yeah, if you see OpiWrites with a minimum flirt, you know it's because the seduction target came to them. They weren't expecting any flirt at all, and they got this instead. And that's exactly what happened. We're standing right across from our seduction target, making that eye contact with them, but still with the minimum flirt, as you mentioned. And we'll take it for a free flirt, and we get another white test right after that, and we get to 34%. It just took 2 tries instead of 1.
Yeah, 34% is the minimum or the maximum you can get with a white test if you're standing on their toes. In this case, you're making direct eye contact with the seduction target, and the game doesn't particularly care for that. We want to be whispering in their ear is how Chris Hecker prefers his flirting.
I was going to say, the dev tells you a little something about how they think seduction works with the way they design their game mechanics.
Oh, I mean, goodness, we could talk about Twitch flirting, but we could also talk
Oh.
about this green book. We now have 85%, and we have snuck this green book. While at least the casters weren't necessarily paying attention, I wouldn't trust Pofke to not know where this book came from.
Green book and green flirt that gets us all the way up to 85%. That's the familiar percentage, but not the familiar way. And I'm pretty sure we're going to go do a microfilm out here on the front of the venue because, as you can see from the sniper side, they like to zoom in, they like to look inside. It's a time ad instead. It's a green test. We are on screen at the very end of it. This is something people will do. They'll go out to that far side. There's nothing to look at but that person, so you have to sacrifice so much else to see. But if you notice this green time ad a second or two later, you were the only one anywhere near windows.
I actually like that OpiWrites didn't go all the way out to the very far end, because then they would have probably been watched for the microfilm if Pofke was aware of it, and then the time ad would have been more dangerous.
I mentioned that the character walking speed might be a factor here, and I think you see that time ad is a nod to that from OpiWrites. They know that even though this game looks okay now, it's going to weirdly get out of hand if I'm not careful, because everywhere I walk is going to take twice as long as I'm thinking in my head. We do get the seduced on afterwards. The clocks are about 25 seconds off. It's possible Pofke didn't notice. It's possible they had no reason to expect it with only one person at windows. If they did notice, then we're actually in big trouble, and if they didn't, it's hard to say.
Yeah, if anybody's been watching the sniper side here, you can see Pofke zooming in. The laser's dead still right now, just making sure that if a bug happened, they aren't going to be distracted by their movement. A banana bread comes off, and you're not seeing much of an immediate reaction. I imagine someone like Twin or Salmon will also get a low light when
You got it.
Pofke feels safe. But this has been a very quiet game, and there's no highlights. If OpiWrites is doing anything and getting a highlight at the end of this game, or just doing anything and potentially getting shot, it's because Pofke hasn't been distracted by the AI. I also don't think there's been many expects.
No, there haven't been, and I think we're about to dump that book now because we are getting low on time. That's not going to be the final mission, so we can't wait until the end. We can't cook this book anymore. We got to put it somewhere else. Blue bookshelf looks pretty full. Are we going to go in anyway? No, we're going to go to this conversation. You got to imagine we're going to dump it in blue afterwards. We're going to talk to Smallman and Smallman alone. The only low light Pofke took right away, per your note, was the person who was very close pixel-wise on screen to the ambassador they were trying to watch. That's the one they felt was safe to take while not getting too far from the ambassador. They took the others afterwards. There's the dump in blue. Big moment for Pofke potentially. The book hasn't gone in yet, and there's no reason to shoot. Less than 1 minute left. Again, the timer would not start even if they were done, which they are not, which we know. Pofke does not have to wait 10 seconds, is going to highlight instead. There goes the book. No shot has come off yet, but we have one more mission to do.
Yeah, with nobody going and picking up statues and potentially swapping, potentially inspecting, the list still being there on the bar. Really, the only thing and the reason why we'd see other snipers take shots here
Bug.
on OpiWrites or otherwise would be bug. But
Yep.
Pofke has been so diligent about protecting the ambassador that he can have that confidence. He doesn't need to be shooting people who could have potentially bugged because he can just say, "No, you haven't bugged. Not a real thing."
Yep, that's where your own assessment of your own competence matters the most. You have to be confident. There's an
Oh,
immediate
that's on
delegate
camera,
to a
please.
low light, and with Seek being low lit, I just don't see how this is going to work. It's going to be overtime afterwards. We were glowing when it happened. We delegated to someone who wasn't. There's the purloin. No reaction from Pofke yet. No reaction from Pofke yet. 4 more seconds. There's overtime. Does he have time to swing over and shoot? He does,
Oh,
but it's the
wow.
wrong person, and it doesn't take anyway. Pofke apparently somehow not expecting that.
Yeah, we're one of two highlights.
I don't
And
get it.
yeah, the clever play here, and this is one thing that you can definitely do on Modern and definitely replicate in your own gameplay, is the drive-by purloin. You come in, you immediately purloin, you walk out, and the sniper does have to just note really quickly, if not just note the etiquette break, because AI aren't going to do that. Uh, Pofke doesn't, despite the fact that he highlight for just the book return, and Orange Sorry should definitely have been on the top of his list. Uh, Eyes away at the one moment it matters, and that's going to be OpiWrites getting a spy win on Modern, which I don't think they would have necessarily bet on themselves doing going into this game.
Or most of the way through this game for that matter. We had another highlight, the Twin. They were at windows sipping their drink. There was not a lot vying for the attention. I'm not really sure. It might have just been, sometimes it's just lucky timing, right? You do an aggressive thing, it looks like it's on screen, but if the sniper's eyes are darting away at exactly the wrong moment, that's what works. Sometimes that's all it takes. And Opie writes just like that is somehow up 2-0. And now Pofke spying on Modern, playing his green dress in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And with that one mistake, suddenly they're spying to avoid being in a massive hole already here in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I. This is one of the issues I have with just mission counting and camping, and why I don't like it is I think Pofke was quite confident about the microfilm. Like he highlighted for it and definitely had that idea that a mission was being done, that it was being done by somebody who also had banana bread, and just not willing to shoot, and then just misses something else in the future. With Pofke, they have a much higher confidence than I would in regards to the bug. So that would be the reason why I would sometimes shoot at that bookcase is going, well, you probably bugged too at some point. But for him, it's in this case just missing the purloin, and that's so surprising. Now Pofke's taking it out on the rest of this party, inspect and 51% flirt, getting a lot of missions done here. And if Seek wants to settle, they do not. So we're gonna have to go follow them to finish potentially flirt, and it'd be at statues.
Yeah, it's a little rough, but we do get a 51% flirt and partial inspects in the opening seconds of the game, which is a very powerful bit of Softail progress on Modern that can add up quite a bit later. That's the kind of thing Pofke will certainly do. We're going to end up at the blue bookshelf here. Could be to waste time, could be to grab a book, could be to grab a book that ends up wasting time, and we haven't decided yet. There are a lot of people at books, though, and that's one reason to do it, but that might be just a little bit of... No, it's actually going to be a microfilm. It's a green, and Cowboy was covering for us at the end of it, and it was right on screen, but not zoomed in on.
You say right on screen, the laser was sitting on us.
Yeah.
Pofke just having that confidence that OpiWrites wouldn't put the laser on the thing he's watching. That would be too easy. Instead, we're just taking an incredibly illegal path to this window with half a microfilm. The issue with microfilm and why you're going to see it not be a particularly popular mission here in competitive Spy Party is you have to do it twice. If we're going to complete microfilm, we need to go to another bookcase and slap another thing into another book.
The only possible saving grace is that we couldn't do it at green shelves now, which I'm not going to say any of these are easy, but that one is easiest because of the conversation we have just entered, which, as you can see, occludes that green shelf the way it's occluding for that AI right now, Walt Disney, Andrew Ryan, whatever you like to call him. So later on, if you time it right, if the conversation's moderately full, you're going to get some cover there naturally. On the other hand, it's more suspicious as a result. But all else being equal, if you could have one for free, you take blue or red over green, no question. We do waste a little bit of time there, having gotten away with our microfilm, we think, and a little under 2 minutes left. We are going to join with the double agent. It is not a good time to contact at all, but we do have to make some more progress very soon. Our seduction target just finishing up
In
at
the
shelves.
red.
We're going to contact anyway, and there's going to be at least 4 or 5 high-quality lowlights available, and OpiWrites is going to get almost all of them.
Yeah, we saw OpiWrites feeling a bit more comfortable taking the lowlights immediately too because the ambassador was safe at the bar. To note, our seduction target has been very active, and there's a reason why we haven't been able to get our flirt done. This is ugly.
Uh-oh. Bug, and we waited on screen so long it is completely hidden, but OpiWrites is zoomed in on it. I think at most they can credit it, but I don't think they could see it. And by the way, real contact highlights came off on us earlier. So this is particularly bad. We traded a lot with that contact. A lot of lowlights and the highlight, and we're being stared at. We know we're being stared at because of the ambassador. We can't do the microfilm,
Flirt.
so there's a big flirt. We do not two flirt, which means we would not be able to finish when we go back, and we do have to go back at some point, and I think we're in big trouble here.
Yeah, so this flirt is a huge deal because now we have to rush our microfilm, and we can't really afford to do it because it means if we're gonna put it back in the green book case, we need to go near the ambassador again. That's our least favorite thing to do right now, given that we've already got the bug in pocket.
Oh, this is
We're gonna
terrible
have to
timing.
do it anyways if we're gonna be completing the microfilm, but this
Oh
is
no.
awful.
You could inspect flirt after this if you want to abandon the half-done microfilm, but who can do that? We're being stared at, and it's right on screen, and Opie writes, totally confident. At that point, I think you have to feel that laser, and you have to abandon your plans, even though it should have worked, it feels like.
Well, the problem with abandoning our plans is we still need to get rid of the book. Because
Yeah.
we have this book in hand, we can't go pick up a statue. We can't go purloin. We definitely aren't finishing Fingerprint. And the only other mission to mention is Seduce, but that's our third mission or our fourth mission. It's definitely not going to be winning us the game. So no matter what we're doing, we need to go to this bookcase if we're going to be completing missions. The other option for Pofke was to roll over, just say, "Hey, can you please shoot somebody else?" But when you're playing against someone as confident and as skillful as Opie writes, that's not something that should be on the top of your mind. You need to be making plays in general to be winning games.
I mean, I think the key choice there was we approached the shelf with the ambassador there and everything followed. We also took the book out rather than say, oh, surprise bug, I guess I'll play differently. We kept on with the plan we had. We went even though the ambassador was there, and that informed the rest of the game. And I think at that point, there might not have been any way to win. But you got to find a way now because Opie writes is somehow up 3-0 already, spying on Modern as Seek in 3, 2, 1, playing it. I
Playing
think maybe I think you can eschew the bug and you can grab the book, or you can take the bug and not take the book out. I think those both make sense. I think the combination of things we did was probably the least likely to work.
Yeah, and we've seen it with the context of just watching Grash Rov, where Grash was rushing through their flirts. Rov was just getting these fantastic green flirts every dang time. We saw them have a lot of options in regards to their play. In this instance, because Pofkey was fairly respectful or just simply wasn't able to get the flirt in a way that they wanted to because the seduction target just kept on going back and picking up the same stupid statue over and over again.
Yeah.
It resulted in flirt being a strain, and then we have to, as a result, react and go to the green bookcase when the ambassador's there both times. Just miserable. In this particular game, maybe we can see something else from Opie. He's already got 51% flirt, and if a timer flirts it here or gets it back later, they could finish this game fairly quickly.
I think that would be very like Opie writes if he's up 3-0, starting strong. If he gets a 2 flirt here, watch out. Vroom vroom. Does not wait around to even try. Very interesting. Are we time adding instead? We are, and it's another green test.
Don't love the timing on this time ad because the ambassador is the
Oh, a
safest.
twitch after missing the pad.
Oh,
That's a little sad, but it was on the edge of Pofke's screen, and there was plenty else to look at, and I think we got away with it, and we hit the green test afterwards instead. If it wasn't seen, suddenly we're actually in really good position.
this is a playground. When you have extra time on the clock and you have seduce done, you get to have about as much fun as you're ever going to have as a spy because everything is an option. You're not beholden to the seduction target, and you're not beholden to the clock, which are really the two things that really stop a spy from going and doing whatever they want.
Yep.
Now we can
Slight
just
bug.
stand next to this ambassador, and this is actually a brilliant thing. We are in
It's gonna be when
range
we walk out,
for
right?
the bug if we want to take it at any point, but we're not close enough where the ambassador is going to ever leave
No.
because of our existence. Ambassador
Right.
does get a bit shy if
Oh
you're
my goodness. Pofke was protecting the bug so hard, but Opie reads the rotation perfectly, and General reading a book innocuously out front covers just enough. The timing on that with any kind of laser latency is absolutely ridiculous. It was perfect. We were perpendicular.
It's so nice to see like good laser play. It's taken us a long time as a community to like really get precise with our spy plays, and it's limited, as you mentioned, by the latency of the spy to the sniper. Just we are playing internationally in this
And this
case,
match in particular, yes, yeah. Yeah.
so being able to pull those sort of things off is really where I like to see a lot of spy ingenuity in the future, especially if the latency gets better as the game is still officially in beta.
Let's not count our mission wins before they've counted down, though. We have Purloined there to Mr. A, and it doesn't work. It bugs out, and he goes to Windows instead. But more to the point, here's the thing. Pofke was guarding that bug so tight. Do you think that maybe he rotated to coax the spy into doing it and is waiting for that mission count?
I mean, we do have the highlight, right? But it's a highlight here for going to the bar. We can definitely still be in trouble. But we saw this with the last game, right? We saw Pofke being confident about their mission count because they're confident about their ability to watch bug, and most other missions are visible beyond microfilm.
Yep.
Uh, the, I mean, the biggest issue for Opie is he just only has 2 missions, and I think he's unhappy about it too, just based on the laser shaking on his spy side.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously had his plan there. Contact Purloin was going to do it. Now it's going to have to be something like Inspect. He's already got the bug done. Still need the contact one way or the other. But the thing is Pofke going to credit a possible bug, or did he actually sort of bait him into doing it, and he's willing to credit it then? Can we finish with Softells?
Okay, our double agent needs to go into conversation if we have a chance to finish it. OpiWrites is going to believe in the double agent, and the double agent believes in us. They are going to go in conversation. Good stuff here. We can do the banana bread. We're going to do it immediately, and we white test it. This is about as suspicious as it can be if
Banana
Pofke's
bread.
paying attention.
He's taking lowlights instead. He does get a lot of good ones, and it is very narrowed down now. As a matter of fact, we're one of just 3 highlights, and the other 2 are just talking. He's going to go to bar. It could be another
Deja vu?
delegate. Here we go. Could we
Wasn't it?
direct here?
Wasn't it Seek who took in the last game to trigger overtime
Here
in
we
this exact
go.
spot?
We running it back. Oh, under 10 seconds left, so I don't know if you can do it directly. It's going to be a direct, and we are going to get a second or 2 overtime. Pofke snaps over and shoots him in the back, cowardly style. 4 missions done. Doesn't quite work. The question is, what would have happened if that Purloin delegate had taken?
I would have appreciated if Pofke at least let Seek get their last drink of water. I think hydration is important, and this was very rude. That being said, I think the highlight here that never going away after getting highlight there for the last bar visit is a reason why OpiWrites was in a lot of trouble. Pofke could have taken this off because I think the Purloin had like the highlight and the reason for the highlight had definitely expired. But the suspicion hadn't. Perhaps because Pofke was just aware that maybe even subconsciously that that looked like a spy.
So that bug, very cool looking. General comes over with the assist. It's a weird little bit of party luck, and obviously Opie jumps all over it. And this is one of the virtues. I've been singing the praises of the standing bug relative to the walking because walking bugs are much more popular statistically. But standing bugs, the problem people don't like them is because they are all or nothing. Sometimes they just get seen, but they happen so quick. They are a timing play rather than an obfuscation play, and they are a little underused. I think we might have gotten away with that, which is really something given how closely Pofke was watching it for a while. But again, General helped out. Does not cash it in, though. Pofke stops himself from falling into an probably undig-outable hole while falling down 4-0 in Modern. Instead, it's going to be 3-1, but we are going to Library, where you would expect snipers to maybe dominate, especially these 2 snipers in particular against these 2 spies. Pofke, though, has to mix it up. Gonna play as Salmon. Needs a spy win at some point. 3, 2, 1, playing it. We're still early, but boy, does it feel deep into these games after 4 long Modern games.
Yeah, and I think OpiWrites is in a good position where both of those spy games, they got away with the the momentum, the small moment, right? They got away with the purloin, the cheeky purloin where they ran into conversation and delegated it immediately. They got away with the standing bug, and these sort of moments that OpiWrites has been able to pull off, where it's just, hey, are you paying attention to me specifically for this 1 second? They're 2 for 2, and if they can continue doing that, they'll do well throughout the set. On Library, you need multiple of those moments, though. It's 5 of 8.
That's a great point, right? Two different key moments in each game where it's just, if you're not looking for that 1 second, you miss the important thing. We managed to win anyway in one of them, but we lose in the first, and we could have easily lost both. So little bit of grace for Pofke there that lets him potentially back into this match. He uses it to take a white flirt early in Library and then walk away. And it looks like we're headed for either the blue bookshelves or those statues. It's going to be the blue bookshelves because there's not really anything going on this side of the venue. The list and the ambassador are on the other side, and that's a pretty good time to go get the book and walk away from the shelf, which is exactly what we do. And our seduction target stands right in front of us as we're walking away. We go right next to them, and this is all lining up suddenly.
Yeah, we're seeing pathing things that I don't particularly like, but because we're not watching Grash, we saw Opie's last opponent, Martini, particularly care about pathing. In this set, it's not going to particularly matter. What's going to matter is the small moments. We could do something like a bug here, and it would work against some opponents. I wouldn't suggest it against Opie, and we do have the book in hand, so I don't think it was ever really a possibility with the ambassador moving.
Not sure if we were obligated to take that case or not, and AI does shortly after us, I think. No, not quite, so my mistake. But we do still have the blue book. We've been hanging on to it for a while, and when you hang on for a blue book that long, well, let's just say it's not going back in the same color.
Oh, and shoutouts to a potential Belial in chat, the third person that comes to mind when we talk about
Banana
silly
bread.
pathing things. Quick banana bread split, and it did feel like the laser was about to pop over to our area, but I think Poffkey thinks that they probably got away with this. Now gonna combo it into a microfilm. This is gonna be 2 missions done quickly, and OpiWrites hasn't really acknowledged it. Now we come over and it's a highlight, not shot. But that's not a good highlight because OpiWrites doesn't really have a reason to shoot. We haven't seen visible mission progress beyond the banana bread.
No, we haven't. It's 2 missions done and 2/3 of another mission done too with that flirt, and we're about to get partial progress on inspects as well. It's going to be a side statue, so we cannot finish inspects here. You can inspect the statue you're holding and adjacent statues, and there's only one adjacent statue and you need 3 inspects, so it's only going to be 2 here. We're going to have to go back at some point, but some people think that's less suspicious than trying to do it in one because it takes longer. And I don't know if Pofke cares about that because they have a lot of progress for 2 minutes left, so it's a sensible play.
Yeah, with Pofke choosing Salmon, who's not particularly a good bugger. Their bugging is subpar compared to a lot of the cast. But they are big and tall and can definitely block a statue. And we do have inspect, and we do have the ability to swap. And it's not right at the end of the game. If we do swap now, there is potential that we could get away with it. Uh, we'd want it to probably be that left statue here that's between Boots and Twin. But it's going to end up being the far statue, and we're right in front of it. He's at least centered himself. Uh, Inspects are going to be done first, though. And oh,
Yeah.
the laser's right here.
Oh, yeah, we're watching for that swap, but can you shoot for it? We saw Rob didn't want to do it. It's not on screen, and it's going to be green anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's going to be pending, and we're going to be at the mercy of the AI with 1 minute left. Opie is definitely concerned about it, but this has been a very clean game from Pofke. Even if it's a coin flip, those are really good odds for Opie. It puts the sniper in a very difficult position. Who's going to pick it up? Is it going to be a low light? Oh, no, it is, and this is going to make Opie's potential shot so much easier. There's the pop. She holds it high up, and it happens high up on screen. Opie gets a low light to take it, and the visible animation. That could not have gone better at the end.
Yeah, Irish was there. Irish taking it also would have been rough because Irish was like the any potential cover that we had. So with that swap being a green test, we were gonna die no matter what. I mean, the other person on that side of the party was Smallman, and that's also just not a potentially good swapper for obvious reasons. If we white tested it, we would have been shot too, because we know the laser was just lingering over our shoulder, waiting for us to do it. So I think really, at the conclusion of this, swap just wasn't the right idea. That being said, you're playing against OpiWrites, you're not likely to get away with a bug or a purloin too. Welcome to Library 5-8 against a really good sniper.
Yeah, really good sniper in Najimad. Just nothing going on that side of the party. Almost none of the people who could have taken it would have done the spy any favors. We were salmon and we were swimming upstream, unfortunately. It's going to be OpiWrites now on Library, up 4-1. likes this venue, has gotten better at it over time, but has given him trouble historically, at least from the spy side, not from the sniper side, but that's okay with this lead. You don't need the spy win. But if he gets it, he starts to pull away. Playing as Leopard in 3, 2, 1, playing it. That was a really good game from Pofke that I think in a lot of other cases might have worked.
Yeah, I mean, double fingerprint game was a really good game by Pofke too, and it doesn't matter. OpiWrites doesn't care. He's just gonna shoot the person with the green arrow above their head. To note, you don't see it as the sniper, but you know it if you're playing well. It's there. Our seduction target is over by the bus. We got the blue bookcase, and we're not doing anything. This beginning of library is going to be a calm, what a librarian would want it to be. A nice, quiet start to a library game.
It seems venue appropriate, doesn't it? Yeah. Every time they say contact banana bread, I think, come on, shh. Stop it. Why are you yelling about this? I always assume it's baking tips or something like that. Why else would you be talking about banana bread? Look at this. General leaves just as our seduction target arrives, makes space for us, says, you two kids have fun. 51% on the green flirt. Opie writes all over it.
Morning Track, you seem like a well-read man. How do you organize your books?
Poorly, I think. I organize them by a system I like to call I'll organize these later, which is to say
Perfect.
I have ideas about how I'm going to organize them, and it somehow never happens. But I
Yeah,
did just move, so they all had to be jostled anyway.
Yeah, there's three people who are going to be mad. Dewey Decimal is furious that these books are all color coordinated and not in any way seemingly done by, what's actually inside the book. The answer is a microphone, by the way, Dewey. The second person is going to be the librarian because we are going to hear Banana Bread here sooner rather than later. I don't suspect we're going to get away with the silent game. And the third person who's going to be mad is the sniper. They're just always mad. It's to be expected.
Well
Our banana
played.
bread is going to come off. Let's piss off this librarian just now. It's going to be a white
Banana
test
bread.
too, so we are clearly talking. We're clearly splitting. Some lowlights should come off, but I wonder if Pofke saw the split too.
I think the librarian was already mad. There's no way we're fulfilling the dress code in that jacket and shirt. I don't think. It's a pretty fancy looking party, and this is definitely skirting it, to say the least. Yeah,
Oh,
you could say with the book kind of thing. How about Rob and from High Fidelity, chronological, autobiographical, right? Get the book, put the books in the order in which you purchase them. That's the chaotic neutral, maybe, I think, option.
that's how my bookcase is sorted. To be fair,
There's
Purloin
a
here
there's
is
a
a
green
really
purloin.
it was a cheeky purloin. We did a green purloin and then walked away more or less immediately. But Pofke was around when we did the purloin, and now we're going to our second statue. We don't actually have ability to finish here. This could be inspect. We could even swap.
There's the purloin.
Uh, yeah, purloin's been definitely seen, and
Yeah. I was just about
it
to
all
say. I
adds
think
up.
Pofke's going to be like, okay, I don't have you dead to rights on any one thing, but the circumstantial evidence is adding up. There's like 5 Venn diagram circles, and when I overlap them, it's just you. So that's enough.
Opie writes asking what they can do in chat. The answer was time ad. The answer is always time ad. So with 3 and 2 half missions done, Opie writes doesn't particularly get close to mission win countdown, but they've done most of the important stuff and they just hadn't gotten away with it. A very typical library game with these two players being such competent snipers.
Well, it's 4-2 Opie writes, and we're headed now into Pub 3-7. Just 2.5 minutes here, so you do have to rush around. You can't take flirt for granted at all. Usually leads to hope the AI's finish. Do we frame? Do we finish? Do we dare them to shoot us for a soft tail finish? Or some salty tech? Usually one of the two, because it's an all or nothing kind of game with a 3-mission setup. It's gonna be Leopard again. It's gonna be Pofke in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, the idea behind this setup, and I can say this because it was me who orchestrated the idea, is it's meant to be hard. For the spy, it's hard because you don't have much time, and you're reliant on the cast, like your seduction target, the double agent, the ambassador, to behave, and they won't necessarily do that. You need to be flexible. For the sniper, it's a lot of people and not a lot of things to watch. We saw in previous sets, Opie Wrights was able to finish missions in 10 seconds just because of the nature of any 3 of 7. It's going to be Fingerprint in this particular game, and no highlight this time. We have seen some highlights for Fingerprint, but not in this particular instance.
No, we get the highlight, we have the delegate, and our seduction target joins the conversation as we're approaching, and we are smushed in next to them. We do hit the green test again. The AT's working for the spies very, very well, and that 51%, it's not as big as it is maybe on Gallery, but it's a pretty big deal on Pub, and we're going to thank our seduction target by delegating to them immediately and trying to get them shot.
like if we can get rid of this drink before it becomes evidence. And oh no, we've been highlit. That's not
That's
nice.
it's a very bad sign. It's a late bar highlight potentially, along with some of the other ones coming out. There's the guest list. It's gone, and here come the lowlights. And Opie writes, "How narrowed down is this? Is it down to 2? It is."
Yeah, and now with it down to 2, we can even watch things like flirt. If Alice is kind enough to come into conversation right next to us, we'll be fine. But otherwise, we're gonna have to go to her, and it's not gonna be fun. If we're gonna be doing fingerprint, it should be known. If we're gonna be picking up statues, we will die. If we say banana bread and Alice is outside of conversation, we will die. There's a lot of things that can go wrong here for Pofke, and now we're so close that we can be double zoomed in the whole time.
Yeah, and there's nothing else to look at because we're right next to our seduction target, and Opie confident no bug has come off. 40 seconds left. We only have so many ways to finish. And Opie doubtless knows, even if he might not know the exact number, he knows that Pofke, like most top spies, does favor delegate over direct. About 3 to 1 is the standard rate, and that happens to be Pofke's rate as well. And in the 2 pub games I have for him, both of those were delegates as well. Not really giving away too much there, though, because again, that is the general rate you're looking at.
Yeah, silver lining here. We did finish our flirt in 2 flirts. We need gold linings if we're going to be beating OpiWrites,
There's the
though, and this
print.
fingerprint,
Here's the
I
shot.
can't imagine this
Yeah,
work.
there's no way. That is just nobody got shot. I have to find a way to finish late in the game, and neither fingerprint was particularly hidden from the sniper anyway. So this was just, I hope he doesn't narrow the purloin down to 2. If he does, I lose, and that is what happened.
One thing I do want to note, Pofke did hit the green test on the fingerprint. He's been doing that very consistently, so a good sign for moving forward. The bad thing is don't look at the scoreboard. It's OpiWrites 5-2.
Yeah, pretty rough for Pofke. Has played pretty well, and again, if you flip just one of those games earlier, this is razor thin margins. Instead, you've got to go up against Smallman on pub. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so I have a suspicion that OpiWrites is a bit grumpy that Martini got a time ad, and the spot that OpiWrites has literally just walked to, and then literally just time ad. I was saying that before it happened, but it was
You
so
called it.
predictable.
You called it. I mean, I'm not sure if it's quite as satisfying to do it against the person who gets away with it, but you'll take the next opponent, I guess. It's a moral victory.
Yeah, and that's going to help out tremendously. With the idea of Sniper Arcade and this setup with the short time, but only a few missions to do. Any time ad becomes more powerful. You definitely need to be watching them because if you give your opponent multiple time ads, this just becomes a very miserable map to try and snipe.
It does, but with the 2.5 minute clock, certainly you're not going to have necessarily tons of AIs complete. In the old pub setup, if you got a timeout or two in, several people are going to complete missions, and it's going to be absolutely brutal. And this one still could go either way, potentially, because you start off with so little, but it is going to test the sniper's patience if you get away with it. On the other hand, someone like Pofke would not necessarily shoot even if they suspected the time ads.
Stations are filling up. The important person, though, is going to be the double agent, and they are in a conversation. So this fake banana bread is very much framing, but it's
Banana
only on
bread.
2 people. It's going to be General and Taft, who are considered real. The suspected double agent was Teal, and she was at statues. So it's just those two. If something like a purloin was to happen, or even like we stand next to General and act like we got sent to the bar by General, those would be the people who come to mind. General is being a weirdo though, and going and ordering from a different location at the bar. Very AI-like. I'm not sure a frame will necessarily work against Pofke either.
Well, that's okay. The other one, Taft, is the one that has the highlight anyway. And this is the upside. Yeah, it's only a couple people. But on the other hand, the sniper's going to be watching them. And if they do something suspicious, it seems like too much of a coincidence. I think the general maybe just thought the floor's a little sticky here. Let's go move over. A lot of pubs I've been in have been like that.
Yeah, it's named the Irene Adler, which I believe is a reference to the Sherlock bar in London.
It
And
is, yeah.
they say that they have foods and spirits, but all I see are the spirits.
All I see are the spirits. The food is all gone. The spirits keep better anyway. Yeah, the bar is called the Sherlock Holmes, which, let's be honest, kind of a weird name for a bar, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I don't dig it, but this is a fun little riff on that. Even though the character model, we're all in agreement that's basically Buns, right?
Yeah, it's clearly. I mean, we
The
love the
Queen's
art in
hat.
this game. It's beautiful, and the characters are so unique, both needing to be for the mechanical sense, but also, I mean, just look at that ambassador. Look at that purple. Look at that hat. He's so great. Uh, But yeah, shoutouts to John Semino who did the art and the character art here. Shoutouts to OpiWrites with one mission done and nothing else in pocket beyond the time ad. It's the only reason this game is still going, and really kind of hoping that somebody will get shot potentially. It's not going to be Disney though. They weren't in the conversation during the banana bread, despite the fact that they are going in to the statues. And unless someone like Taft specifically goes to statues right now, I'm not sure a shot's coming off without some uh, provoking by Opie.
Yeah, well, post fake contact, Taft came to this conversation next to us and has not budged since. So your frame hopes there. Dash certainly by the SDA being out, and Dash by Taft not doing much. And time ad right at Windows comes right back. Poffkey's on it. At that point, you just make a bet on the SDA and/or AIs moving around. Neither bet pays off, and Poffkey holds.
Yeah, other than like the fact that we're only at the window pad for like 2 seconds, the big reason this isn't ever going to work is we're doing the time ad with less than 30 seconds left. And what this does, it makes the beeping slower. And because it wasn't going, we didn't do it before 30 seconds, it's very clear it's just happened too. And beyond the fact that Pofke doesn't have much else to watch, uh, it this play isn't going to work very often as long as the sniper understands why why the beeping is slow.
Yep, it is 5-3 now, Pofke, and now that little split-second delegate on Modern is the difference between this lead and a tie game. Not over yet, but that is a huge, huge gulf with snipers of this caliber. Pofke now on Gallery playing as Cowboy in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Now, we talked about flirting on Gallery, but these two players with better AT rates than the previous two.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a ton of green tests there from Rav, but Pofke's been hitting every single fingerprint. OpiWrites famous for it. I trust that these players should be able to get it done, say 3 flirts, if not 2 flirts. Unless everything is taken. There's just nothing to do here. Every statue is already busy. We're gonna be the fifth statue person in the first 30 seconds.
That is a lot of busyness. OpiWrites, of course, maybe loath to give highlights for that. The fact that he prefers highlights for A, finishing in specs, or B, being Smallman, might serve him well here.
Yeah, being Smallman is a known crime, especially on Gallery. Here we're gonna do a flirt. This conversation is also full of criminals. When this conversation gets full, you'll often catch a spy running into issue, trying to get into it. So getting a flirt done here while the conversation was relatively empty is good. And we have good mission progress here at the start of Gallery for no highlight.
Yeah, very
This
significant.
continues that potentially with the double agent being contacted. We'll see lowlights, but I don't think we'll see any highlights for the real banana bread because both this conversation and the back conversation have, from the sniper's perspective, a double agent.
Very interesting, by the way. Pofke generally swaps almost twice as often as he inspects on Gallery. Does not like to finish with inspects on Gallery. Thinks of it as a crutch that narrows down the party for the sniper quite a bit, so it's much more likely going to be Bug or Purloin. Microfilm at a pretty high rate, though, and the funny thing is, Bug, Purloin, Microfilm all in the 30% range for Pofke. So very capable of doing any of those hardtails at about equally likely rates, but you would not want to ascribe the kind of suspicion you normally would to an inspect finisher as you would against Pofke.
Yeah, Pofke has been picking these large male characters. We saw Salmon on Library, Cowboy here. They are also proficient at blocking the statue. I don't expect it to necessarily ever really work on Gallery, at least like reliably. But it can be difficult to see the statues, especially when you are playing someone with the broad shoulders.
OpiWrites does not hold his shot on Gallery very much either. I have 21 Gallery games sniping OpiWrites and only held their shot in one. Granted, plays a lot of players who get to mission win countdown, but that's a significant stat on the kind of venue where spies do have trouble finishing. Pofke goes to statues here, and the real significant question is whether or not he's going to go back. And nope, it's going to be a swap instead, and it's pending. He does finish the inspect at the same time. This is a rare inspect finish from Pofke, and swap is the third favored choice of the hardtails for him, too, as well. So this is very surprising. This is very against type for Pofke on two different fronts, but OpiWrites look like he's waiting for it. Someone's about to get called over to this statue, and you got to imagine OpiWrites is going to be staring at it. It's going to be a low light. It's going to be sorry, and she's a little off-center, too, to the right, so we should get a pretty good look at this.
Crash the drink. Do something. You're gonna die.
There's the pop as we zoom
seconds.
back out. He sees it right now. Does he find the spy in time? He sees the hat in the crowd. Cowboy taller than the women he's standing between, and that's enough right there. Yeah, I think a white might have done it.
Yeah, so the problem with this is the exact same situation we saw in library. There's an R in there apparently. I learned this recently.
Ew.
You can see on gallery where the sniper's laser drifts, like the location of it drifts to the far right or far left, that they are watching the swap.
Yes.
Pofke went for it anyways. They didn't necessarily know when they did the action test if they were going to do a white test or a green test. But you can tell as from the spy side that they were watching the swap, and we also have the confirmation because we could also see what was up on Opie's screen on the sniper side. The green test here, both of them have been taken by lowlights. There wasn't much pressure, but we've seen these players in these 50-50 situations making the right decision. I believe every time between the swaps and the purloin so far.
I am about to talk to myself as much as anyone listening now or later, but there are limits to statistical tendencies. Let it be known that of the 8 missions you can do on gallery for Pofke, fingerprint is last, but 6th and 7th, respectively, are swap and inspect, and he just did them both. Played very much against type, but was not rewarded for it, and Opie retains a significant lead, and now spying for an even significanter one, playing as Taft. You don't see this too often, but a lot of implications for gallery. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. I think I will let you describe why someone who might normally choose this character as their ambassador rather might play as a spy here instead.
He's double C thick.
There it is. Yeah, at least 2 C's. As many C's as in this conversation circle. That's what it is. CC. And maybe 3, maybe 4. He's the thickest. And he's next to the second most popular ambassador there for a moment, which is Cowboy, of course. And yeah, there are only a few venues where someone who normally picks Taft as ambassador will pick them as spy instead, and this is one of them. This in library, I suppose.
Yeah. I usually call him Big Bone, but Taft, he's got a lot going on there. There's a reason why we like him as ambassador because when you stick your arm into him, it will often just hide inside of his body. These aren't actually real human beings. This is a video game.
Oh.
Obviously, if it was real and you tried to just put your arm inside something,
you go full Temple of Doom on them.
yeah, exactly. It's no good. We have a lot of mission completion here. This is going to be an innocent drink, which is going to be our first innocent thing. But we do have a flirt. We'll get a second one right now for 73%, and we do have a fingerprint. With gallery, this is what you want to be doing. If you can get missions done, you want to be doing so. The unfortunate thing is we do also have the highlight because Pofke's been highlighting for first briefcase or fingerprints that they find suspicious.
It's an innocent drink, but that is a sinister stash, if you ask me. Look at the way it curls up at the end. Snidely Whiplash. There's the bug as the
Okay.
ambassador walks by. We were probably already highlit for a possible bug in the early going. We didn't take that one, but we do take this one, so it might net out to the same thing.
Yeah, you actually see Seek getting a highlight in that spot too. Um, Hopefully for Pofke's sake that both Seek and Taft got the potential bug credit. But it's harder for us to say as casters because we can't tell if Pofke was also willing to highlight Taft in that spot because he was already highlight.
I think there has
This
to be a print here.
this is a difficult print. Duke was here since the ambassador, so it has been smudged. But I do believe this should still have the opportunity, and we
He
does
got
get
it.
it. Now
Wow.
we just have flirt to do. We're got plenty of time, and we can even walk around with the book. Perfect.
It is, unless, of course, Pofke is suspicious. He has 2 different possible reasons to think of that bug, one of them more obvious than the other, but that was not the one that took. OpiWrites is not going to wait around at all. He's going to walk that book right out front, and I imagine within the next few seconds he's going to talk, and he's going to be in mission win countdown, and Pofke's going to have a choice to make, and I think this is looking pretty good for Opie. Here's the talk, there's the seduce. We're not even on screen. We're looking for the purloin and the ambassador in the back. 5 seconds left, no motion from Pofke. This is going to be a mission win for Opie, and a 7-3 lead.
Yeah, you got to take these bugs when you get the opportunity. Opie writes as competent as anybody at doing that. But really the beauty here is just how good these players have been at getting these green test fingerprints. And to Opie's credit, they're the one who's been getting away with it. They've been able to snipe these tough fingerprint spots, and Pofke in this instance at least did not.
Wow. I think the print there would have been the way to go. Crediting bugs early in the game, I think, is a little less powerful because by the end of the game, it's sort of an amorphous thing, right? You're crediting bug, you didn't see bug, you're not positive bug happened. Easier maybe to let that go 2 to 3 minutes later, especially when the finish is so soft-hell, involves the difficult print, does not fall into the trap you mentioned earlier of looking for difficult prints because we've been hitting them, as Pofke has hit 3 already this match, but does not catch this one. It's an AT for the win, and those are odds that OpiWrites is going to take almost every time with their AT rate. And now it is slipping away from Pofke, who has to spy on Gallery again in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, if you're a Pofkey fan, you're hoping that we see the same thing that happened in the first set, where the winning player gets stalled out at 7. In the end, we're here at 7-3 as shown the scoreboard, but that
Yes.
doesn't make. Haven't we just played a gallery game? Shouldn't it be an odd number? Are we
I,
playing
th-
four?
I think we have 2 more, don't we?
Oh, we were playing 4 gallery. Oh, say
Double
gallery.
gallery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes,
Oh,
indeed.
okay. I understand how it works now.
And there's a
Ignore me.
microfilm, by the
Hey,
way.
watch the
With a...
game. Microfilm done. Good stuff, Pofkey. Bad stuff, Opie. Let's go.
Oh, and I think we might have missed that pad and twitched forward. That's the third time we've seen that tonight and the second time in this match, but for the 2 of the 3 times now, it's not been caught at all, and I don't think that microfilm was caught either. We had occlusion up in front of the blue bookshelf, a weird amount of it in front of that red painting. Apparently, the abstract art being unusually compelling to the partygoers, just long enough for us to get away with something nefarious.
I really do like the early microfilm at Blue Bookcase, by the way, in part because the green bookcase is the easier bookcase to get away with. If you look at the spy side and you look at Salmon, or I mean, you can see it on the sniper side, he's precisely where we would expect to get away with microfilm in the future. And I wouldn't be too surprised if we were to do it immediately or do it after we potentially get this flirt. We're going to be at 49%, which is a percent that you usually see from one flirt. And we can definitely finish in 2 flirts too, if we get a close 51.
Yeah, you are right. The green shelf, more cover. Look at Damon there, the security guard. Try not to look too hard at him. He's not very attractive. It's not his fault. He is center right between those 2 bookshelves, and you notice that he is not center with the conversation circle. The conversation circle is offset for that large painting pad I mentioned earlier in front of the red painting to give people more room to stare at its majestic, simplistic, minimalist beauty, I guess. So the green shelf on the far right is going to give you a little more cover, but it is more suspicious for that reason, and that's where Pofke is standing, and OpiWrites knows all about that. There's the microfilm, it's green, and there's a lot of cover for it, and this can be, I think, suspected at worst.
Yeah, I think the green test here almost necessary.
Yep.
If we had the extra time, but also just the extra animation of the microfilm, OpiWrites definitely has a good chance of catching it. We see another clean mission. We've seen a lot of clean bugs, and we've seen a lot of clean microfilms this set, and it makes it come down to, ooh, okay, that's probably actually really good, and that looked kind of AI-like.
It did, but also OpiWrites was staring at the ambassador inside the building. And do we hit the green test here? We do not. That is a big, big action test right there, because now we have 17% more for the flirt. We could have been done right there in 2 with a minute and a half left. And on gallery, this has a way of spiraling out of control.
It's hard to see from the spy or the sniper side, but the back conversation doesn't have that many people in it for this banana bread. And more importantly, the double agent has left the conversation, so now it's a fake banana bread. We don't get the mission credit, and we aren't seemingly getting lowlits for being in a fake banana bread because the double agent was in the conversation anyways when we started it. Time ad here would make sense, and we're gonna do it very cheekily, very quickly. Just one, just one.
Just
But
one. And by the way, with the real DA potentially in Opie's mind in the back conversation with the ambassador back there and the list back there, he was laser focused, no pun intended, on that back conversation while this was happening out front. So I think we probably got away with it because there was just no reason. It was not profitable percentage wise for OpiWrites to be watching out front much.
bug? Nope. Just gonna walk by and get a bit in the way of the ambassador, but no actual mission being done here. And now Pofke is on a back-facing statue, but this can't win the game. We don't have a second inspect, so we can't do the same thing that we did previously with the inspect and then also the swap.
OpiWrites has a chance to really put Pofke on the back foot here if he can take the win. Pofke went for the rare for him inspect swap on gallery last time. It did not quite work. He's playing another good spy game here, but a good spy game is not enough against a great sniper sometimes. We do pick up the highlight there for finishing inspects. We are at 3 missions. We are glowing. This laser is right over our head. OpiWrites is very concerned about us, and we still need one more mission too. The clocks have not converged, but they're getting low on both sides. What are we going to do?
Like Pofke, here you go. He gets in there. Yay! I've seen so many spies fail that, and it's a huge deal. If Pofke had not gone to this conversation, he would have been shot immediately. The laser was ready for it.
If we
Now
contact
we
here
just need
where
to get away with the second half of this Mission Impossible.
We're
We
waiting.
need the
We're
banana bread.
waiting. There it
Green
is.
test.
The other highlight is Smallman. You're taking low lights. We haven't shot yet. There's someone out front. He's thinking about it and is the only highlight left with a reel. We get shot afterwards. It looked like a tentative. Could have done the microfilm, but I didn't see it kind of shot. But it is the right one.
Yeah, I mean, he got into the conversation, which is part one. You had to get away with the banana bread. And the problem with only 10 seconds left on the clock is you're taking it no matter what the situation is in the party. And in this situation, Opie writes, while it didn't look particularly confident, that was a very hesitant laser over to Pofke, does get the correct shot and does put himself into a match point situation.
That is crazy. Pofke probably thinking, what do I have to do? I have played some excellent, excellent spy games, and I think that one was probably the closest from Opie's point of view. Probably one of the tougher, more annoying shots, especially for a mission counter. But it doesn't matter, and you really can't afford to lose those kind of coin flips anyway when you're already down 7-3. It's 8-3 now, and we have just way, way too many match points. Playing as Duke on Gallery to advance to the semifinals in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah,
If you're
Duke not going for the timeout here. Interesting stuff here from Opie writes. Strictly incorrect play. You should always take a timeout when you're at a window. That's the Po Noob special, and I'm going to advise it every time. Instead, we're just going to get highlight for going to a statue here early, which is bad, and you shouldn't do, and that's the Opie writes unspecial. Opie writes knows better than this, and perhaps is only doing it because he knows Poffkey hasn't been highlighting for early statues.
And that probably fits too. Opie writes his two least favorite missions on Gallery are Swap and Inspect. The one you want to look out for in particular is Purloin. Does it more than Seduce, as a matter of fact. More than Bug, oh my god. Purloin a favorite mission on Gallery, and usually what that means is it's part of both mission wins and desperation frame plays.
Exactly. The classic gallery game you're going to see in even like lower level competitive, but even just any spy party game is a purloin in the last 30 seconds in the bet conversation, both from players trying to complete and players trying to frame. Fantastic bug that I was talking over here from Opie, just walking across the ambassador in a very natural way. And while Pofke is always watching for the bug, we haven't copped a highlight for it.
We haven't copped a highlight for it. Opie writes now, geez, 5 chances to advance to the semifinals for the 6th consecutive cup. That is I mean, it's just the most dominance we've seen in cups, period. It's not that close right now. And, of course, he runs one of them, so you know what that means. Also, look at this. Surprise, surprise, going to finish inspects. Both players playing against Type on Gallery.
Yeah, I think Obi Wrights knows with the heavy lead that they can actually balance out their repertoire. Future opponents be like, oh, Opie Wrights definitely does inspects randomly, and it's like, no, he's doing this because he's 8-3 up. Don't be tricked, fools.
Yeah, well, not just that, but like I mentioned before, they shared the division in SCL 6. So I think the familiarity of the players obviously incentivizes them to play against their normal tendencies a little more.
Okay, what's the plan, Obi Wrights? We've seen our seduction target walking around doing
It's
briefcases,
Purloin. It's
statues.
Purloin. Come on. It's always Purloin.
You're not gonna get flirt easily here. If seduction target does one more annoying thing, like go and pick up that briefcase, for example, that's another 30 seconds potentially wasted.
Which
Oh,
ruins your silent game potential.
yeah, this is
Banana
also
There
bread.
it
pretty
is.
rough. It's a full conversation as far away as possible. Let's see if Opie Wrights is able to even get into this conversation.
Yeah. I think the plan is I'm going to try to get a flirt right away, and if I do, I'll try to finish flirt. If it doesn't work, I'm back inside for Purloin. And I'm back inside anyway,
Hey!
chasing the flirt. We do just make it. Can we timer flirt our way into the semifinals now? That's 90% on the green. That one didn't really matter so much. The question is, will they stick around? You mentioned 45 seconds if you're standing near them. That's about how long we have. We have a minute left. If they leave, it falls apart very, very quickly. We can't crash bug. If they leave, it's a time ad and pray. Otherwise, Opie writes is going to be into the semis.
And the scary thing here is if the ambassador leaves and the briefcase is here, anybody, including our seduction target, might go pick it up, and that, if it is our seduction target, will just end our chances of finishing seduce cleanly. Thankfully, it's going to be
Someone
our
else did it.
suspected double agent. It's going to be the
Yep.
low light Alice, which means our seduction
Yep.
target can only leave on their own accord at this point, and we should be getting close to it. I assume that OP Wrights will take the flirt at their first
Yep.
opportunity.
There it is.
Literally Pixel, just
Right
waiting for
away.
it.
That briefcase seems small, and oh my god!
Wow.
Poffkey takes the shot on the final flirt! I did not see that coming! I was just about to lose my mind for another semi-final cup berth for Opie, and Poffkey, call from the governor, stay of execution, it's not over yet.
Yeah, what a crack shot. Just Pofke doesn't want to lose. I mean, there's no other reason you could take that shot. Is you just acknowledge the fact that uh you need to win this game and you need to make the correct bold play, and he shoots for what is a timer flirt.
On gallery. And not even a particularly suspicious one, if you ask me. The full 45 seconds, just about, maybe about 40 something. Pofke says, I do not want to go home just yet. One of us has the chance to become the first repeat Winter Cup winner. It will be OpiWrites 2 in a row if he gets it, but 2 total for either one of them if they make it. Pofke is not willing to let that little piece of history go just yet, but he needs to find 4 more to force overtime. That's going to be tough. It's an exciting shot, but the toughest part has yet to come. And the toughest part, I guess, is going to be high rise with Swap and Fingerprint off, playing as Cowboy in 3, 2, 1, playing it. 3 of 6. What do you think about leaving microfilm on here?
So the big thing when it comes to discussion about high rise is missions that pull the sniper's attention versus missions that you're actually wanting to do. So something like Swap is a mission that makes snipers rotate all the way far right. It pulls of a lot of attention, but Swap is not a mission that you're particularly interested in. With to answer your actual question, with microfilm, I feel it's kind of in that middle ground where microfilm is like a mission that's okay to do, but it doesn't particularly stress the sniper out. So it's kind of just halfway there
It's an
compared to like something like Fingerprint, which is the option that we didn't take, where Fingerprint is definitely a mission that you like to do if you can get away with it.
Yeah, the meta is swap more often than either of those at this
Hmm.
point, but you still do see it occasionally. And the main thing is Bug and Purloin being on instead of Fingerprint. That is the choice that seems to really be sticking from some of the other experimental tournaments and game modes we've seen. There's Duke walking right by the Ambassador, and OpiWrites scrolling along with him. It does create little openings for Purloin when that sort of thing happens, when the Ambassador is vulnerable, especially with these two, who, as you mentioned, like to watch it and like to bug. It's an Ambassador-centric match, obviously, but we've seen both players get bugs by anyway. We are up to 85% on the flirt, and this is the kind of venue where you can just make that steady progress, but not make your mind up about what you want to do until the last minute.
OpiWrites is rotating in a way that like feels like they've forgotten that Swap is one of the missions that they don't need to watch. Because they were over there keeping Duke on camera. It may just be to make sure that they were protecting the ambassador at the best angles they possibly could. But they've been fairly neglecting the left side of the party, and it's allowed Pofke to comfortably finish Flirt, which they were probably going to be able to do anyways.
Yeah, the road to the semifinals does not go through that particular mission, not with these two players, but every now and then, Pofke breaks something like that out. Flirt is what saved them, saved their tournament life in the previous game against all odds. But again, that was actually, as hard as it was, probably not as hard as what they have to do right here and in the next few games, especially with only one mission done. Oh, just as I speak, so does the spy. Second mission, 1 minute left. This is a very standard position to be in on high rise.
Yeah, and the issue as the time gets down is Bug is a mission that you'd really like to do. Purloin's a mission that you'd really like to do, but you just lose options as the clock runs down. If you're trying to do a Purloin, whatever happens to exist at the end of the game, things like if it has a good angle,
Are we going to
or
microfilm?
at the end of this game, this would
I'm
be
sorry to cut you
fantastic.
off, but I don't see any reason we would do this other than dumping the book.
Just walk straight across to the blue bookcase in the last 10 seconds for no.
That's a real YOLO kind of thing. No, we're just killing time. I guess we're waiting for the ambassador to go somewhere. It works! Just stalling for time, and Seek at statues finishes the inspects, and AI completes, and Pofke gets a much-needed spy win.
We're casters, we're unbiased. That being said, it's a comeback. We love it. Let's go, Pofke. Get us some overtime. We love casting more Spy Party more than anything. And
We love comebacks, we love underdogs, and anyone behind 4 games is the underdog.
yeah, to answer your original question, the 3 missions I'm not getting rid of: Seduce, Contact, and Inspect Statues, and this is why. Obviously, those are your favorite missions to complete as a spy too, but inspects are going to be the third mission that gets credited for AI most, especially in this sort of instance where they're going to statues late in the game.
It's OpiWrites. It's Salmon. We're going to try this again. The third match point to advance to the semifinals for the sixth consecutive cup. 3, 2, 1, playing it. This is just hard because Pofke has been playing very well, can continue to play well, but it's not enough to play well. You can't keep winning coin flips. You can't keep winning close marginal games. It's just very hard to do. You have to completely outplay a sniper at this point to win this many games in a row to get back into it.
Yeah, and while I trust Pofke's ability to win sniper games, we do still have at least one more spy game. This is probably going to be their toughest sniper game left too. We do have some weirder setups here with OpiWrites' pick of the modern setups, but 3 of 6 high rise is not necessarily what I think Pofke wanted to play. There's a reason why they didn't pick this setup.
Yeah, and when you're behind, these are the kind of iffy games. AI completes, you feel like you have to shoot, and just like that, it's over. That's not the situation you want to be in if you're behind this much. If you're behind a little bit, maybe. If you're ahead a little bit, maybe. But this is not the kind of thing you're going to survive very often.
Opie Wright's agreeing with me. As we were heading over to do our flirt, the double agent comes and steps between us. Opie Wright's so mad about it that they're going to twitch towards their seduction target so they can do precisely this. Finish flirt in 2. We're breaking etiquette to break hearts, because it's a 50-50 chance if we make it through this game right now. Smallman might be
We're just
widowed
going to
at the end of
finish.
this.
We're going to finish with 2 minutes left. We're going to do the I dare you to think I'm finishing a Softail game this early with my 2 flirts, with a little bit of luck, hitting the BB, all that stuff. Just going to dare Pofke to take a tough early shot for his tournament life. Opie Writes could be seconds away from advancing to the semifinals. This is a standard thing to do when you can 2 flirt, and Opie can. There's the inspects. Pofke takes the shot. Another tough Softail sniper shot to keep Pofke's tournament hopes alive.
Yeah, it's the 2 cycles there, right? So when you're doing statues, there's an animation to it, and to finish the 3 inspects, you expect to have to do 2 cycles of the animation. Pofke doesn't need to shoot if he doesn't think the inspects are done, but when Opie Wrights goes into that second, they really start threatening the ability to complete the inspects. They do complete the inspects, but Pofke's having none of it. And against someone like Opie Wrights who's so competent at getting these green flirts, I think this is generally going to be a net positive play. This obviously could have also been an AI in the exact same situation, and that's really what Opie's is hoping on.
Wow, another comeback now potentially for Pofke. It's a 3 in a row, I believe. It is 8-6, and now you just need to win 2 TN games to force overtime. This has been absolutely wild, and it could be about to get wilder because look who the spy is. It's Smallman. It's Tayen. It's 2 games left. It's 3, 2, 1, playing it. And all bookshelves for the Shojis.
I'm enjoying this because I enjoy Smallman, I enjoy Tayen, and I enjoy Smallman Tayen. OP won't. I expect when Smallman becomes visible that we'll cop a highlight, and that doesn't necessarily mean that Pofke is going to play an aggressive game. He doesn't actually have to. Just the idea that you are Smallman and pulling a lot of vision can really just stress the sniper out and cause civilian shots too.
You could do something very cheesy here if you wanted. This isn't that cheesy. Seek our seduction target. These are the sitcom partners I like to talk about. Give them their own show. Please put them in a small, tiny Manhattan apartment, if you would. Gets the flirt done, and it is 51%. And again, you do see the difference here with the more experienced spies. Just that AT rate just coming through over and over and again.
Okay, side statues here, and we're Smallman, and it's Tayen, and it's getting close to being crucial. Opie writes refusing to take the highlight. I don't think Pofke plays much Smallman to note.
A lot of top spies don't like it because it guarantees you're going to be watched. They'd rather hide in the crowd, and that makes sense. Opie doesn't play him very often either, probably for exactly the same reason. They think with a neutral spy I can win. That is a contact, and it's a pretty good one, and I only see one low light coming off. However, only one conversation, and it's ours, has an SDA from the sniper's
Oh,
perspective.
hello.
The seduction target comes right back. We must have said something very charming at Windows, and very charming here too. It is another 2 flirt. Stop me if you've heard this. The spies are absolutely killing it with these flirt ATs.
Yeah, I mean, we see it in both sets too. Just everybody here is playing like they want to make the semifinals. It's been Pofke more recently. They are gonna have to win a sniper game if they can pull this off. But I'm interested to see. Inspect here is our third mission. if we do something like swap, I'd expect
Oh.
something like Smallman going
This is a
behind
big
the
moment, though.
conversation.
This is a big moment because you can credit that bug so easily. This could be it. This could be Opie taking it right here and now. Could be a boring old inspect finish, but can you really say Smallman doesn't have a bug on Tayen after several minutes? Can you say that? Is OpiWrites gonna say that? Here it comes, Smallman going behind a conversation and then over to a bookshelf. The shot has not come off.
Yeah, so the issue here for OpiWrites is if Pofke can get a bug, a purloin, really those are the two big
He can
ones.
dance.
He can dance if he wants to. He can leave his friends behind. And he can do so with the heavy cover. I mean, if looking at this back conversation, it's not got the best cover with Seek leaving now, but there's a little bit of a wall, right? And there's also the
Oh
wall of
boy.
the front conversation
We're
too.
Here it comes. Here it comes. We're requesting a drink, but we lost some of our cover. It's the safety off dance, is what I think it is. There's a reject. It's nothing. It's not a green. No purloin.
Yeah, we don't have the best cover right now because a lot of the characters are out and about. Um, Poffkey just showing patience, refusing to be the cheesiest person in the world.
There's your cover. There's your seduction target. 6-foot Kevlar vest in the form of Seek, and we are going to request, and we're going to try to cheese this to stay alive,
No, the
maybe?
laser's on us
It
already.
doesn't even
He
matter!
doesn't even want it.
Doesn't even want it. Bust out the tarot deck. You just drew OpiWrites, the King of Cups, with his 6th consecutive semi-cup appearance.
Was that a shot for getting drink offers too soon?
I think it
Offers
must
too
have been.
soon.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of forcing himself into that spot. There's a couple of things that you could definitely shoot for.
I mean, just
That
being
being
small
said,
man is enough.
no mission shown. While OpiWrites is definitely giving themselves a chance of getting the cup. Poor Poffkey didn't even chance to get a glass.
Didn't even get a glass, just got a bullet. You could see the way OpiWrites was staring at the first request, though, and I think Pofke felt it. I think if you have a little more cover there, we have a fun little dance, and maybe we have a chance to tie it up in the next game. But the fact that he didn't have that cover, Seek showed up a little bit too late. Our sitcom partner was not blocking properly in both senses of the word, and that is what the match turns on, a match that looked like it was going to be over a lot quicker.
Yeah, and this has just been a fantastic day of matches. These both happened early this morning, and both of them had a large comeback. Both of them just had some really quality spy plays, and at the end of the day, it's the player who's been playing the more consistent sniper who does pull it off. So it's going to be, in this particular match, congratulations to OpiWrites, but some tough decisions being forced there by this green testing monster, this Smallman on Tayen man of Pofke. I feel like Pofke, this could have been a final. This could have been a semifinal. It is actually a quarterfinal, so we will see OpiWrites move into the semifinals here. And we'll do that next week, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
OpiWrites made the semifinals in the last Summer Cup. Rav did as well. They played each other. OpiWrites won fairly handily, 7-3. And Legorv is also potentially in line to make the semifinals again after winning that cup. So we might have a lot of the usual suspects in the semifinals for the Winter Cup, as we did in the Summer Cup and so many other cups. As I mentioned, OpiWrites in the semifinals for the 6th consecutive cup. No one has ever done that or anything like it. But that's just how well he's played.